What if everything you thought you knew about the US Open was wrong? Most people see it as just another tennis tournament, predictable in its rhythm. 14 days of battles ending in two finals we've all come to expect. But this year, something has shifted. US Open 2025 won't follow the script. It will stretch longer, spill over into an extra day, and that one subtle change could alter the entire character of the tournament. Suddenly, it feels less like routine and more like a storm waiting to break. Welcome to Beyond 60 Wisdom. I want to take you into this story, not as a journalist reading headlines, but as someone who has lived through the pulse of this event, felt the noise of the stadium, and noticed the smallest details that others often overlook. And right now, I can tell you, this schedule is different. From August 24th through September 7th, New York's courts will not just host matches. They will test endurance, patience, and strategy in ways we haven't seen before. The women's final on September 6th and the men's final on September 7th might look familiar on paper, but the journey to those days will not. I remember standing at Arthur Ashe Stadium last year. The lights pierced the night sky, the roar of the crowd rose like a wave, and each rally felt like it carried the weight of history. But when I look at this year's schedule, I sense a tension underneath. An extra day means an extra layer of unpredictability. It's not just logistics, it's pressure on the athletes, new rhythms for recovery, and fresh chances for shocking upsets. It's the kind of twist that could turn a round of 16 into the most unforgettable night of the season. And that's why I believe this US Open will demand more from us as viewers too. To watch closely, to feel the suspense, and to notice where the unexpected breaks through the familiar. Because the real story here isn't just about who wins the trophy. It's about how the entire structure of the tournament is being reshaped right before our eyes. If you want to stay with me through this journey, don't forget to subscribe to Beyond 60 Wisdom. That simple click gives me the drive to bring you more stories, more insights, and more moments that others might miss. And trust me, you don't want to leave now. The deeper we go into this schedule, the more astonishing it becomes. What's hidden beyond the surface could change the way you see the US Open forever. Stay with me, because the best part is just about to begin. Adding one more day of competition may seem small, but this change makes me think much deeper about what will unfold at this year's US Open. Just one day? Yet it's not just a number. It sets off a chain reaction. For the players, it could mean extra pressure to recover, an extended path that weighs down their legs and tires their bodies. But because of that, surprises have more room to break through. The schedule no longer aligns with old routines, and any player could become the one to shatter the order. I've followed many Grand Slam seasons, and one thing is clear. The US Open has always had its own personality. Unlike Wimbledon holding tight to tradition, or Roland Garros with its slow clay battles, the US Open is explosive, modern, and sometimes bold. Stretching it by one more day makes the tournament even more distinct. It's not just an organizational choice, it's a statement. This is the stage of the unexpected. Look at August 31st, when the fourth round takes place. History shows this is when shocks erupt most often, with top seeds forced to withstand hungry young challengers who have nothing to lose. 2 sessions in one day, starting at 11 a.m. and again at 7 p.m., turn that day into a real trigger point. Matches could stretch late into the night, the crowd holding its breath through every rally, and anything could happen. And when I see this, I realize US Open 2025 isn't just the story of champions. It's where the schedule, the timing, and the atmosphere itself combine to create the most unpredictable script. That's what sets it apart from any other tournament. But hold on, this is only half the picture. The real flashpoint, the reason I believe this tournament might leave a mark in history, is still waiting in the next part. When I look ahead to the final stretch of the US Open 2025, I don't just see two champions lifting trophies. I see a stage where every detail, timing, energy, atmosphere, works together to create moments that will stay in memory long after the tournament ends. The women's final on September 6th and the men's final on September 7th will, of course, be the highlights on paper, but the real anticipation lies in the journey leading into those days. By the time the last weekend arrives, Every match, every upset, and every late night battle will have set the stage for something bigger than a single victory. What makes this year feel so unique to me is how the entire structure seems designed for drama. The additional day has already shifted the rhythm, and now the finals carry a weight that feels heavier than usual. It's not just about who has the strongest serve or the fastest return. It's about who has managed to adapt, who has endured the unexpected, and who has turned the chaos of this schedule into an advantage. That's why I believe the champions this year won't just be the ones with talent. They'll be the ones who found a way to bend the pressure into strength. For the fans, this means something even more exciting. We're not just watching a contest of skill, we're witnessing a story unfold in real time. Each day has its surprises, each night has its twists, and when the finals come, they will carry the echoes of everything that happened before. To me, that's what makes the US Open different from any other tournament. It's alive, unpredictable, and it forces you to pay attention because the meaning of the whole event can change with a single point. So as we move toward those closing days, I invite you to stay with me. Don't walk away now, because the most powerful moments, the ones that might define this tournament for years to come, are still ahead. The heat of the story, the true turning point, is waiting in the next part. As I study the schedule and think about how this tournament might unfold, I can't help but challenge the easy assumptions people usually make. Many believe the US Open is only about the final weekend, about those two matches where champions are crowned. But when I look closer, I see something different. I see a story that is shaped long before the trophies are lifted. I see how the smallest shift in timing, the slightest change in rhythm, can ripple across the entire competition. That's why I believe this year's Open is less about tradition and more about transformation. Take the idea of endurance, for example. People often assume it belongs only to the athletes, but in truth, it belongs to the entire event. From day one until the last point, every piece of the tournament is stretched, pulled, and tested. And when you add an extra day into that equation, it's not just the players who have to adjust. It's the fans, the broadcasters, the rhythm of the city itself. It's like the whole ecosystem has been shifted, and the results of that shift can't be predicted. That's what fascinates me most. I also think about how quickly the narrative can change. One unexpected upset in the middle rounds, one player breaking through when no one gave them a chance, and suddenly the conversation flips. The favorite becomes vulnerable. The underdog becomes unstoppable, and the story everyone thought they knew gets rewritten in real time. That, to me, is the essence of sport. It defies certainty. And this year's US Open, with its altered structure, seems designed to magnify that truth. So here's the question that keeps circling in my mind. Will this be the year where history follows the script, or the year where the script gets torn apart? I don't have the answer, and that's exactly why I can't look away. Because the meaning of this tournament isn't locked inside the finals. It's hidden in the way everything before them builds, twists, and surprises us. Stay with me, because the real revelation, the part I believe could make US Open 2025 unforgettable, is still ahead. What comes next might just change the way we remember this tournament forever. There's a truth hidden inside this year's US Open that I can't shake from my mind. At first glance, the schedule looks like a list of dates and times. But if you look deeper, you begin to see how every shift carries meaning. The extra day, the late night sessions, the packed weekends, each of these elements becomes more than logistics. They become pressure points where history can bend. What seems ordinary at first might turn into the spark that changes everything. I think about how often we underestimate the role of timing. A match starting at 11 a.m. under the bright sun feels entirely different from one that begins at 7 p.m. beneath the lights when the air is cooler and the crowd is louder. The same players, the same court, yet the environment transforms the game. This year, with the schedule stretched and the rhythm unsettled, those contrasts will be sharper than ever. That's where I believe the shock will come from. Not just from who plays, but when and under what conditions they play. And maybe that's the secret of why this year feels different. Because the truth is, Greatness in the US Open has never belonged only to the champions we remember. It has also belonged to the nights when no one wanted to leave their seat, to the underdogs who refused to fade, to the unexpected turns that left even experts stunned. The 2025 edition feels primed for those moments, maybe more than any year before. So when people ask me what I expect from this tournament, I don't point only to names or rankings. I point to the structure itself, to the way it invites chaos, drama, and the possibility of something unforgettable. That's the real story waiting to be told. Don't look away now, because the next layer, the revelation that could define the entire event, hasn't yet been revealed. Stay with me, because the heart of this story is still coming, and once it arrives, it might change the way we talk about the US Open for years to come. When I step back and think about the US Open 2025 as a whole, I realize this tournament is not only about crowning champions, it's about redefining what the sport can be. The extended schedule is just the beginning. What it really represents is a shift in how we experience the event, how athletes endure it, and how the world will remember it. This year, it feels like every piece is connected to something larger, almost like each match is a thread woven into a story that reaches far beyond New York. The finals will naturally capture headlines, but what fascinates me most is how this tournament mirrors life itself. You can plan, you can prepare, and you can think you know the outcome, but then something unexpected throws everything off balance. That's when the true character of players, and even of the event itself, is revealed. And in that sense, US Open 2025 is more than sport. It's a test of resilience, adaptability, and the human spirit under pressure. It also makes me wonder about the ripple effects. If this new structure works, could it inspire other tournaments to follow? Could we see a shift in how all Grand Slams are scheduled, or will the US Open remain the bold outlier, the one willing to experiment while the others hold tight to tradition? To me, that's one of the most intriguing questions. Because change in sports often begins quietly, with one decision, and only later do we see how it reshaped the game. As someone who has followed this event for years, I can feel that we are standing at a turning point. This isn't just about who lifts the trophy this September. It's about how this edition will set the tone for the future, how it will be remembered when people look back decades from now. That's why I believe this US Open could become a reference point. A chapter that fans and players will talk about not only for the champions it produced, but for the way it redefined the stage itself. And yet, I know the full weight of this transformation hasn't been revealed. The heart of this story, the moment that could crystallize everything, still lies ahead. Don't turn away now, because the true turning point of the US Open 2025 is waiting in the next part. As I look at everything we've uncovered about the US Open 2025, one thought keeps circling back to me. The meaning of this tournament isn't fixed. It's being written in real time, and we are part of it. The dates, the matches, the extended schedule, all of it is just the surface. The real depth comes from how we as fans connect to it. Every cheer from the stands, every late night watching from home, every conversation we share about who might rise or fall, it all shapes the story just as much as the players themselves. That's why I believe the most important question isn't simply who will win, but how this event will make us feel when it's over. Will it leave us inspired by resilience? Will it surprise us with a new name breaking through? Or will it remind us that even legends can stumble? These are the questions that keep me invested, because they show that sport isn't just competition. It's reflection, it's emotion, it's a mirror of life itself. I also think about how this tournament forces us to look beyond the obvious. The headlines will always focus on the finals, but the true drama often lies hidden in earlier rounds, in the unexpected battles that rewrite expectations. And when I ask myself what will make this year unforgettable, I don't see one answer. I see possibilities, each one waiting to unfold, each one capable of turning the tournament into something that resonates far beyond the courts of New York. So now I turn the question to you. What do you think will define the US Open this year? Will it be the rise of an underdog, the dominance of a favorite, or the chaos of a schedule that refuses to play by the old rules? Share your thoughts, because I believe the beauty of this event is not only in watching it, but in the conversations it sparks among us. Don't go anywhere, because the journey is far from finished. The next part will dive into the heart of the matter, the moment where all these threads could come together into something truly unforgettable. Stay with me, because the story is only getting stronger, and the real turning point is still to come. When I look back at everything surrounding the US Open 2025, I see more than a tennis tournament. I see a living story, shaped by changes that seem small on the surface, but carry huge meaning underneath. Adding one extra day to the schedule may appear like a simple adjustment, but it is really a reminder of how even the smallest shifts can create a wave of impact. For the players, it demands resilience. For the fans, it promises unpredictability. And for the tournament as a whole, it symbolizes evolution, the courage to break away from tradition in order to create something new. This lesson doesn't belong only to the world of sports. It belongs to all of us. In our daily lives, we often underestimate the small changes, waking up a little earlier, choosing to focus on health, reaching out to a friend we haven't spoken to in years. On the surface, they look minor, but they can reshape the rhythm of our lives just as powerfully as that extra day reshaped the rhythm of the US Open. What I take from this is that transformation doesn't always require grand gestures. It often begins with the decision to adjust, to be flexible, and to embrace the unknown. The deeper truth here is about adaptability. Just like the athletes who must adjust their bodies and minds to an unpredictable schedule, we too must learn to adapt when life surprises us. Instead of resisting change, we can choose to lean into it, to find new strength within it, and to see it as an opportunity for growth. The US Open this year reminds me that chaos can also be a stage for greatness, and uncertainty can be the birthplace of resilience. So my perspective is this: don't wait for perfect conditions before taking action. Life will rarely give you a flawless schedule, but if you step forward anyway, if you commit to embracing each twist and turn, you may discover that what seemed disruptive was actually the key to your breakthrough. Now, I want to hear from you. What is one small change you've made recently that brought a bigger impact than you expected? Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below so we can all learn from each other's experiences. And if you found value in this reflection, I kindly invite you to subscribe to Beyond 60 Wisdom. Your support gives me the energy to continue creating meaningful content for you in the future.